Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. Just a real quick intro for you all this time around before we get into today's episode. I really just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you who've listened to the podcast over the past 3 years, yet again, as in between the last episode and this one, we hit a pretty amazing milestone of 10,000 downloads, which is just, it's huge. We're all blown away by all your support and hope that you'll stick with us for the next 10,000 and beyond. We don't do anything to advertise the show anywhere other than on our own social media pages, so it's all word of mouth, and that's 100% down to all of you guys. So once again, huge thanks, and keep spreading the word. With all that said, let's recap what happened in the last couple of episodes to bring us to where we're at today. In the dwarven town of Shalefast, high in the Drakeseat Mountains, we met wandering adventurer Ruby and pub landlady and ex-rogue Meg. They were hired by aspiring explorer Jackson Black to join him on an expedition to climb the highest summit in the mountain range, known as the Winged Peak. Jackson's ineptitude and lack of experience soon began to show, but he proved his mettle when the group came upon a bandit camp and were forced to fight for their lives. Arriving at the Winged Peak later that evening, the group set up a base camp and prepared to make their climb. Strange noises in the night went unexplained, and the following morning they set out towards their goal. Partway up the mountain, they came across a strange marker stone bearing the seal of the ancient Dragonslayer order, but could not understand the draconic text carved into it. Continuing the climb, the source of the strange noises that they had heard the previous night became clear. A large stone giant perched on a ridge along their route. He was banging together a pair of boulders, seemingly for no reason. Not wanting to have to fight a fully grown giant, the group attempted to sneak past him, but after an unfortunate slip alerted the giant to their presence, Ruby cast the darkness spell upon the giant's head, and they were forced to make a hasty run for their lives. That's pretty much where we left off last time, so without any further ado, let's get into today's episode. Enjoy. Okay, so leaving the angry shouts of the giant below you and behind you, even, you continue your climb upwards towards the summit of the Winged Peak. As you are now beginning to enter a much colder altitude, can I get some Constitution saving throws from the pair of you?
Oh dear.
Oof, 7 from Ruby.
I think I must have given myself
13.
a fright. Ooh.
Yeah, 13 from Meg. So, Meg, you're feeling a bit chilly, but you're not too affected by it. Ruby, I'm going to need you to take a point of exhaustion from the cold. Okay, so you're at level 1 exhaustion, so disadvantage on ability checks until you can rest and get rid of it. But yeah, so it's just from the cold. You're feeling the bite of the wind and that as you're going up, and especially the kind of like the stressful situation there, and just having to expend a level 2 spell slot as well to do darkness as well. So yeah,
I'm not really a magic user.
Yeah,
the adrenaline bleeding off.
It's sort of it's drained you more than it might like a wizard or something, just to do what's actually a fairly powerful spell. And yeah, you're just feeling a little bit kind of like, oof, this day's been a long day so far. You've been climbing, I should say, the passing of the time we haven't been really marking too much, but that first kind of couple of sort of sections took you a few hours. It's probably getting towards midday now, and the cold is sort of, you're out of the shadow, but you're now in the point where you're at the altitude where the wind is hitting you, should we say. That's what's causing the exhaustion. So, having left the giant behind, you sort of trudge uphill again for about another half an hour before you reach the definite sort of snow line. There's been kind of patchy bits here and there where the sort of in the kind of more permanently shaded bits, there's been ice and snow, but now the whole of the kind of path ahead of you is very much sort of iced and snowed up. There's also seems to be a sort of misty kind of, not like a fog, but sort of, you guess you're maybe kind of actually pushing towards the bottom edge of some quite low clouds.
Ooh.
Its visibility is starting to drop a little bit.
Ooh.
You don't think you're heading towards like a kind of crevasse or drop in any direction, so provided you stick together you should be able to kind of keep trudging on upwards, but this is maybe just another sort of another thing to have to sort of contend with. Are there any extra sort of precautions you want to take given this?
I was going to say, if Ruby's feeling the cold, we should like huddle together as we walk together.
Yeah.
Try and keep her warm.
Okay. Yeah. Totally doable.
Ruby, do you mind if we do that?
Fine by me.
Let's do that.
Has everyone got like staff or a walking stick or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jackson's got one. Yeah.
Do you want us to test?
It's
ground
just
as we walk.
if this gets much thicker and our visibility gets worse, it means we can make sure we're not about to fall down a crack in the mountain or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're going to be doing sort of that a little bit, sort of hitting the ground as you go to make sure that you're doing it, can I get? I guess this would be another survival check, just to kind of make sure that you're still staying on good ground. I guess with Ruby going first, you could probably be somebody could be like the pathfinder, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't need everybody to really do it.
I'll be a guinea pig.
Yeah.
Okay.
13. Okay. So yeah, you kind of, there seems to be quite a good plan. You manage to kind of avoid stepping on any particularly kind of slippery kind of ice patches, and you do put your stick into the ground at one point, and it just sinks into like 2-3 feet of snow. So that would have been quite a quite a nasty kind of surprise, just to step and suddenly be falling into snow. You're not quite sure where that sort of that little kind of dent in the ground is going to. But you manage to kind of keep going with a sort of quite steady sort of safe path. You're going about another 25 minutes, and your stick hits onto something a little bit, not harder because you are, but sort of hitting it into the rock, but sort of texture-wise it's kind of coming out at a slightly different angle to the rest of the slope. And as you withdraw your stick, some of the snow kind of falls away, and it looks like you're looking at, you would guess maybe it looks almost like the top edge of a similar stone to the one that you found further down the mountain. You can't see much of it, and it does seem to be much smaller than the other one. You could say this one was maybe only a couple of feet high, as opposed to however tall I said the other one was, 8-10 feet. But enough snow has fallen away that you can see the top of the what Jackson had identified as the kind of shield crest of the Dragonslayers.
Is it the same? Oh, I suppose we can't read the inscription because it's covered in snow.
It's kind of covered in snow, but yeah, you can see the shield crest on the top. I mean, if you wanted to sort of dig away and take a look at it, you could. That's totally up to you, though.
Well, it seems like we're going in the right direction.
It does. Is there anywhere looks like a little bit of shelter here?
Make a perception check for me, if you could. Natural 20, 23. Yeah, that is. Yeah, you're able to. In fact, actually, without even going any further, you kind of you sort of look around, and you can see actually there you could probably take shelter if you scraped away a little bit of the snow, kind of to the side of the stone. There was a little bit of a kind of sort of hollow. There's a sort of boulder next to the stone, and sort of so you could kind of you could almost make like a little kind of sheltered sort of spot in between the boulder and the stone.
Okay. I think if we could have a little bit of shelter there, it might be worth one of us trying to see if they've got these possible numbers on this carving as well.
Yeah, and we can get a little bit of rest too.
Yeah. Could be that there's just a small bit that's slightly... If they've got like a change in the numbers. That could be useful later on. It shouldn't take us too long, really.
Alright, so yeah, you are able to kind of scrape away the stone so you can get a look at the inscription. Again, most of it's in Draconic, but it looks like it could be that the last sort of word is actually in Elven script on this one.
Ooh.
Actually, sorry, the last 3 words are in Elven script.
I turn around. Do either of you speak Elvish?
Nope.
Or can you read Elvish?
I can't speak the language, but I might be able to at least transcribe some of these characters. I had an Elvish tutor at one point.
I see. Do you have any idea what these words are?
Jackson kind of takes a bit of a closer look. Sort of, it takes him a few minutes. He's kind of you see him sort of sounding out vowels and things, and he's eventually says, I can't be quite certain. I think this final one is a name, just based on the form. The other 2, I'm not 100% sure, but something like strongest killer. Maybe High Dragonslayer or something. That would fit with the rest of it. High Dragonslayer Erval. If the last one is a name.
Okay, so it's maybe one of their high up in the order was this elf. That's interesting. Possibly.
I mean, that name does ring a bell. I must say, I haven't really looked too much into the order, to be honest. Only as much as tales and legends and such. I'm not exactly a student of Dragonslayer lore or something. But yes, the name does ring a bell. If either of you two want to do a history check to see if you recognise it, I will let you. But sure. That is totally up to you.
Nope.
Is that a natural 1 from Ruby there?
I am an outlander. I have no knowledge of mythology.
That's fine. 15 from Meg. Okay. So yeah, Meg, you actually... You haven't heard the name Erval before, but High Dragonslayer, sort of as a title, is something that you've heard before. You much like Jackson, you don't know a lot about the Dragonslayers, but you've heard about them in general as kind of like an order that kind of sort of almost self-appointed to kind of hunt down dragons and make the mountains sort of safe for people. But they were, as far as you can sort of remember, their leader was, the title was High Dragonslayer.
So that was the leader, maybe. High Dragonslayer, and maybe this was the last dragon that he killed on this mountain?
Possibly, yes. Would track. So you think this is again sort of like a less of the warning you were talking about earlier, maybe, and more of a sort of reminder to people, or
I don't know. Maybe this is a pilgrimage spot for other dragon killer folk, and this is like to honor one of their members. I don't know.
Well, anything's possible.
Yeah, it could be a pilgrimage, or like this guy was like their head guy and they wanted to honor him, so they create this, and this is where he died. Maybe they like set these stones out so others could follow and be like, this is the dude. He was great.
You think this is some kind of grave marker or something?
It could be. I mean, there's only 2 of them that we found so far. There might be more, there might not be.
Yes, right, well.
It could just be a giant sign that says, "Look at me, I died here. Don't be stupid. Don't climb this mountain."
Well, I wouldn't say we're being stupid by climbing this mountain. I mean, this is...
I'm paraphrasing him.
Well, we shall see. And to be honest, we're not doing horrifically so far.
No, we've been quite lucky.
I will say as well, in looking at the writing, you can see there is also another set that has got the 4-digit numbers in the Draconic section.
I will add that to my little scrap of parchment and just put it to my pocket.
The first 2 digits, if they are digits, I can neither confirm nor deny because neither of you can speak Draconic. the first two digits, if they were numbers, are the same as the ones on the previous stone. The second two digits are different.
Interesting. Well,
Like dates.
I have a note of
maybe
this. We shall see if we come across another one, I suppose.
Yes, well, it's all very interesting. Yeah. See, what, I mean, I've told you why I'm doing this, to get into the Explorers Guild. That's part of what the Explorers Guild is all about, looking for ancient secrets and stories, and making sure that we learn from their lessons, document what we find.
It's a noble goal.
Yes, I thought it's always it's captivated my imagination as a young lad, and has been my goal ever since.
Right. Okay. Shall we?
Yes, we shall. Yes. See him pulls out like a kind of water flask and just takes a little sip. And yes, well, I'm good to go. I would say that in the time that you spent around the stone, the clouds are clearing a little bit, so visibility is coming back a bit. Quite high, it's quite windy, so the clouds aren't hanging around, and you're able to get a kind of bit of a better view of what's ahead, and you're not like near you're getting towards the upper reaches of the mountain, shall we say. So who are you going to continue pathfinding, Ruby, or
Yes.
yeah, okay.
It has had mixed success so far.
Yes. So can I get another survival check from you for that?
And
Okay, 10. So this last stretch is a bit steeper than the what you've encountered up to this point. So you're kind of sort of soldiering on, and but you're definitely finding it much harder now to kind of find solid. That it's not like a sort of path. Not there was a path before, but you weren't finding it too tricky to kind of find a kind of solid sort of route that you could take. You find on this last section very quickly that you start to run into some difficulties. You follow a little bit of solid ground, only to find that it sort of runs out, and you have to backtrack a little ways to sort of find a little bit of a different route. So it's taking you much longer to kind of make progress on this last section. And you notice that the longer it's taking you, the darker the skies are getting again. This has been sort of... You've been now past the snow line for about 3 or 4 hours at this point, and you haven't made a huge amount of progress. You're definitely much higher than you were at the stone, but it definitely, compared to sort of the morning's kind of quick sort of productive start, you're definitely taking much longer to go much shorter distance, should we say, and the evening is starting to pull in.
Do you think we should stop, Ruby?
I think we should stop before it gets too cold.
And too dark to see anything. Well, for the rest of us to see. I'm sure you'll be fine, Ruby, but I don't fancy wandering around this mountain in the dark.
No, that would not be particularly pleasant. Right. We'll need to find somewhere as sheltered as possible.
Let's have a look around, see if we can find a nice sheltered space.
Okay, can I get another survival check for whoever wants to be looking for a sheltered spot? You can both have a go if you like. Oh, natural 20 from Ruby. So
Oh, well.
That's a good start.
Newbie strikes gold.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're quite lucky, actually. At about the point where you start thinking about stopping. I mean, this isn't like a kind of flat uphill slope sort of thing that you're not just climbing through like a 45-degree angle of snow the whole time. There are kind of ridges and crevasses and things, but you do manage to find like a kind of a little bit of a sheltered sort of ledge, which you are able to determine is, it is stone. You're not just going to be sitting on some ice. It's going to be sheltering in kind of the sort of the shadow of like a quite thick snowbank, but it is a little bit out of the wind, and you are at least on solid ground. So you might be able to kind of sort of dig your way in a little ways just to kind of make a little ice cave.
Yeah, we could do that and have a little fire just to warm our small space up.
Yeah,
just to give us a little bit of...
Careful we don't melt our ceiling. Yes.
No, you just stick a little hole. Just a little air hole. And it'll be fine.
Good. Yes, well, let's get warmed up. Don't want to be caught out here with the wind blowing. Not overnight at all. So, yes, you're able to kind of craft yourselves a little kind of nook. And it's going to be pretty cramped, I will say. But you've already, as you said, decided to kind of clump together a little bit as you were climbing. Yeah. I think having to do that while camping is not the greatest of sacrifices. But yeah, so you're able to make yourselves a little kind of slightly sheltered hidey hole on this ledge as the evening closes in. So, what would you like to do? But you're sat on a ledge most of the way up a mountain. It's not like you can go to the pub.
Mac, the pub could come to you.
Break out the rum.
Break out the BV. It's not actually a good idea drinking alcohol on a freezing cold mountain, though.
Not a great idea.
No alcohol for you. No alcohol for any of you.
All for Meg. All for Meg.
No, you'll get hypothermia.
So you're saving the BB for when you get back down the mountain, then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the trip down.
All right. Are we setting on watch on this evening, or are you just trusting that this is quite a out of the way spot? Should we say?
I think we should probably still keep watch, as much for risk of heavy snow or avalanche.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like creatures or people. Yeah.
Do you do the same order as we did last time, or?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. I'll go first then.
Okay. So it's dark, but Meg is going first. Can I get a perception check from you? 12. It's very cold. It's very windy. It's very dark, although in the light of the moon, as you're just sort of watching, you can you get quite a nice view as a sort of the clouds clear at one point, and the moon is shining down, and you can just see through all the valleys. You can't see Shalefast, as you couldn't see the mountain from Shalefast. But yeah, from where you're at, you actually can see sort of down onto the plains. You can see what you think might be the distant lights of the larger human city of Lorana, and a few more sort of more distant settlements along the river. But yeah, it's quite a. If it wasn't so cold, this would be a nice view.
Pretty, but for the cold.
Yeah, but other than that, no signs of angry giant or anything at this point. No sounds drifting up from below either, and your shift ends without incident.
Okay, I will wake Ruby up. Nothing much was going on. It's a nice view, except for the cold. I don't think we'll have much trouble, but you never know.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear that there wasn't any more giant playing the boulders.
Doing a drum solo and all that.
Okay.
Straight back to sleep. So, Ruby, can I get a perception check from you, please? 7. I mean, you can't see anything. I mean, you got your dark vision. You see the same kind of view that Meg had seen, but nothing really new to report. You don't hear anything. You don't see anything sort of out of place. You don't get the nice view for all of your shift. You sort of get it for a little bit, and then more clouds roll in. You're pretty much in the cloud layer at this point, so as soon as those clouds roll in, visibility is basically 0. So you find yourself sort of not really sticking your head out of the hollow too much, should we say, because it's pretty unpleasant out there. But yeah, nothing seems to be taking much of an interest in the little shelter that you guys have made for duration of your shift.
Mm-hmm.
So Jackson's shift rolls around. Say you wake him up. He seems a bit more focused than he did the previous morning. Now that he's out and you're out and doing it, and you're in a ice cave on near the top of a mountain, it's maybe focused his sort of like, he's not. Yeah, he's not quite the indoor kid that he was at the start of this.
Ruby's very glad that she can curl up and try and warm up and go to sleep.
Yeah. But there's minimal grumbling from Jackson. You're not sure how long it is between when you wake him for his shift and when he sort of shakes the two of you awake. But it's still dark when he does so. He just sort of, with a whisper, kind of shakes the two of you on the shoulders. Come and look, something strange is out there.
Oh.
What?
So, just through the little entranceway, it's almost looks like it's like a kind of slightly, it's very dim, but it's a sort of glowing point of light. It's just kind of hovering outside of your little ice cave, just sort of hovering there for a few seconds as you all three of you look at it, and then it seems to pull backwards and away, and then fades away.
Okay. I'm not sure what I'm looking at.
I've never seen anything quite like that before.
Like almost little like sprite or something.
I've heard of a mountain sprite before, but then as the strippers are showing me, there's quite a lot of stuff I apparently haven't heard of before. Didn't look like a goat, at least.
Ruby, you don't know anything about it.
I've never seen. Is there any way to try and work out what it might be?
Well, I'll say straight up, it's not like any sort of living creature that you've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a small kind of lightly sort of blue glowing kind of point of light. As I say, you only saw it for a few seconds before it disappeared.
Yeah.
If you like, you can make an Arcana check. But this is going to be quite a tough check, obviously, because you haven't, you didn't see much of it. And a 12 from Ruby. Maggie, you making a check as well, or?
Yeah. 16.
16 from Meg. So Ruby, you're not really sure too much. You get the feeling that it might be something magical, but you're not too sure which. What anything really about it. It doesn't you don't recognize a spell effect or anything. It just looks like it's like, wow, that looks like kind of magical. Meg, similar thing, but it does kind of sort of seem a little bit just the kind of the sort of nature of it does seem that it kind of has like a kind of feeling of something that, like, it had some magical intent behind it, if that makes sense. It didn't have like you can't place the spell. It just kind of, because you're not a wizard or anything. But it does look kind of like you've seen some wizards in your time, and you've seen some spells in your time, and it strikes you that this does look like a spell of some sort.
Yeah. There's magic afoot.
Well, I'll keep an eye on it in case it comes back. But I should let you know.
Yes.
How many hours is it till sunrise?
Probably another 2 hours.
Okay. I'll maybe try and bed down. But I don't know if we'll sleep after having that.
Ruby goes straight back to sleep.
Okay, so it's again it's not too long after that then. So a couple of hours later, when Jackson sort of wakes the pair of you back up again, it looks like this time he was up the whole time. Again, not like the previous night where he kind of was dozing when you you woke up of your own accord. So I think sun's getting up. We should
Think about making a move. Nice and clear out as well. No signs of any more clouds for now.
Good. Quick recce, then we'll go. Get that top.
I get. Ugh. Ruby is tired.
You're tired, but you have lost your point of exhaustion, at least. Because you got in a night's rest on that.
I also now have darkness.
Yes, you've got your spell back. So, again, I won't make us talk through breakfast. Suffice to say that, yeah, you have as much of a snack as you can before crawling out of the little ice cave and back onto the trail. It is a very nice morning. There's no sign of, anywhere near the mountain. You can't see any signs of real kind of cloud cover at all. You get a nice clear view all through the Drakeseat Mountains. You can see, for miles and miles and miles. Definitely, now that it's daylight, you confirm that what you did see was the city of Lorana, quite a ways away. It's about 30 miles straight distance, but it's down through the mountains and down in the valley. You can see the Lifeblood River kind of curling away south towards the horizon. But yeah, it's a nice clear day. Yeah, a good day to make a push for the summit. And you do so.
Right, let's go.
We've almost done it.
So yeah, as you step out and back onto the cliffside, you get a much clearer view of the summit from where you are, and you can see how the kind of the peak has that sort of split quality that you saw when you first were kind of approaching the mountain. It looks like at one point it maybe was kind of like a one peak, but there is it kind of broken apart. It almost looks like it's kind of peeling backwards. It's split down the middle. You don't know quite what would cause this. This is kind of like a bit of an odd geological feature that you've not really seen before. It doesn't look recent. It wasn't a surprise to Jackson, and you've kind of in passing heard of the Winged Peak before, and this is a known feature of it, that it's kind of weirdly sort of split at the top. But yes, it's quite quite striking from this close up, but you're not quite there yet.
Ruby looks up at the peak and is kind of looking thoughtful. I wonder, so these are the Drakeseat Mountains, and there were dragon hunters here.
Yes.
I wonder if it was some sort of battle between them and a dragon that might have damaged the peak.
It's possible, yes.
Never seen a mountain have that sort of shape to it before.
It certainly looks unnatural.
It's not a common thing.
Yes.
It'd probably take a lot of power to break a mountain apart.
Possibly dragonfire.
Yep.
We've melted it.
Yeah,
Oh well.
It'd have to be particularly hot dragonfire to melt a mountainside, you would think, but
I know I've just been one. Might have been a
Hopefully.
whole lot more.
Don't say that.
well, if probably nothing to worry about. If the Dragonslayers did their job, then and by all accounts they did, then yes, I mean there hasn't been any dragons seen in these parts for, well, as I say, it's been centuries.
A long. I'm sure we'll see once we get up there. It'll be interesting.
Yes, I'm sure there'd be very least some sort of relic of, I mean, if these stones we've seen are anything to go by, there'd be some relic of the Dragonslayers waiting for us. Or just a giant lot of rock, but still exciting.
The view will at least be nice.
Yes, looking forward to it.
So, can we start things off with some more athletics checks then?
10.
10 from Meg, 18 from Ruby, 10 from Jackson. So, yeah, not the worst of starts, I will say. 10 was kind of my lower threshold there for getting into difficulty straight away. And so, yeah, you push off, again, not the fastest of starts, but you're not running into trouble. And you kind of begin to claw your way up this slope finding kind of a rocky sort of ridge that you can, everything's quite snow covered, but you do manage to find a sort of rocky kind of, again, I'm not saying path, but a sort of a route you can make your way up. A couple of hours of climbing go by. The whole way through, it's quite a slog. You find your way sort of picking your way over kind of like awkward ridges and sort of climbing your way up some quite tight kind of crevasses. You're sort of having to kind of brace yourself against one side, and that it's tough going. But you soon find yourself on the edge of the gap between the western peak and the eastern peak, where it is split, and you are able to pull yourself up and get your first look at the in between the wings of the winged peak, and you are surprised to find it is almost like a kind of crater, definitely centered on where directly below the kind of center of the two wings of the peak. Almost looks like a kind of, not like a sort of dugout pit, but almost like, something has just sort of like slammed down into the top of the peak almost and caused this sort of dent in the rock at the top. So it is almost kind of flat up here. A little bit kind of, if anything, it's sort of concave. There's a bit of you can go over this ridge, and then there's a bit of a sort of slight sort of dip down into this kind of crater on the top, sort of flanked on either side by the sort of continuing upwards peaks.
Wow. Yep. This is impressive.
Yeah, it's quite. I wasn't sure what to expect here. This is marvelous.
Can I get a perception check?
13. We match.
2 13s. Okay, so you're just kind of looking around. You're taking in the scenery. Like I say, you've still got probably 100 feet of mountain above you on either side, but looking around in this this kind of crater, you can see in the center of the crater is another one of these stones that you've seen, but also facing it on the inside of the western peak is what looks to be a carved stone door.
Ooh.
Ooh.
What would you like to do?
I don't think we should open the door.
I'd like to have a look at the stone first.
Mm-hmm.
And note similarities and differences with previous to. So I've got my record of what I think are numbers.
Yeah.
We read about the high Dragonslayer.
This seems to be very very similar in kind of design. It's got the crest and everything. It doesn't have the inscription about the High Dragonslayer. In fact, this stone has only 8 words and then one group of 4 numbers on it.
Okay.
The 4 numbers match the ones at the bottom of the mountain. Again, all in Draconic.
Jackson, are you taking a note of this one as well?
Yeah, you can see he's scribbling it down. He said,
a lot of this matches what the other one said. That's what this it's all fascinating.
You can see the door is carved, again, in much the same sort of style. Similar kind of design, sort of design language, should I say, in terms of how the carvings seem to be made, and it looks like it looks pretty solid. It's like a pair of double doors, about 10 feet high, just in the side of the mountain side.
Mm-hmm. I look at the door curiously. Can I sense any magic from it?
Do you have that power?
I don't.
Then no.
Okay.
I'm just looking at your sheet just in case there's something I've missed on that, because you'd need the spell detect magic to really do that kind of thing.
That's fine.
Would you like to approach the door? What would you what are you thinking?
Could I try to investigate the door?
Yeah, sure, yeah. I guess, can I get an investigation check from you? 21. Yeah, okay. So, you kind of, you sort of stand in front of the door, kind of taking note of its construction and everything. It looks pretty solid, almost as if it's been carved from the mountainside itself. Although, looking at it, it's not just like a door carved into the mountain. This is a pair of working doors, as far as you can tell from the look of things, although they do appear to be sealed quite tightly. There doesn't appear to be any kind of inscription on the doors or anything, though.
Can we tell if the door's been shut closes from the inside, or do they open outwards?
There's no, like, handle or anything on this side, so you would guess maybe. And again, there's no kind of signs on the ground around them to say that, they don't look like they've been in use or anything. There's sort of build up of snow and bits and pieces around the bottom of it, implying that they're not opened. They haven't been opened recently, at least.
Does anybody want to knock?
Well, rather you than me, I think, really. Although,
how should we maybe climb to the top of one of these wings first?
Yes. I bet I've almost forgotten all this excitement while we're here. Yes, got to claim the summit.
Yeah. New discoveries. Let's go.
This is all rather unexpected, wasn't it? Well, let's climb this eastern wing, and he points to the one that hasn't got the door on it.
Okay.
Yep. Sounds like a good plan.
Yes.
So it's about 100 feet of climbing. Let's get one last athletics check from you guys. Let's just make check after check after check. Yeah, I can see you preemptively typing there. So 18 from Ruby. That was yours, wasn't it? 16 from Meg.
Yeah.
All right. I rolled a 6 for Jackson on a natural one. So his mind obviously on something else. You guys are still kind of tied together, and you're just nearing the peak, and he slips on a patch of ice and goes face first into a snowbank and begins to slide backwards. So, help!
That's all right. We got you. Grab the rope.
Yep. Pull him back up to his feet.
I'd say you don't have too much trouble with that, to be honest. As the peak is starting to flatten out as you're getting to the top, it's not like a vertical wall. So yeah, while he did begin to slide, I'm not going to need a strength check from you from that. You're able to stop his motion between the two of you, because luckily you suggested tying yourselves together earlier. Otherwise, that would have been trickier. So yeah, between the three of you, you reach what could be called the eastern summit of the winged peak. Jackson weirdly pulls out a sort of small. You hadn't really, you haven't been through his pack or anything, but he pulls out what looks to be kind of like a bronzed sort of, kind of not like a plaque, but almost kind of like a plaque, if that makes sense. That's got what looks to be like a kind of family crest on it, and he kind of places it on the top of the sort of the peak before taking out he's got a little kind of ice hammer axe thing, and just kind of tapping it into the rock sort of thing to sort of try and secure it as best as he can, sort of thing. And he kind of looks up and just sort of the kind of giddy sort of glee on his face of we did it. I did it.
Well, yeah. A little help and a little luck. We all got here.
But we got here. This is good.
Can I get a perception check from you?
Oh dear.
Dun dun dun.
14 from Ruby, 21 from Meg. Meg, you're just kind of you're looking down at the plaque, and you can sort of, in the background, you can sort of almost see down into the kind of crater sort of bit. And you see the doors crack open 100 feet below you.
Oh.
Guys, doors are opening. Do you see that? Do you see them, Greg?
It's quite in the distance. As I say, it's about 100 feet below you.
I'm like squinting my eyes.
Yeah.
And be like, I'm sure.
No,
I see
they
them doing
definitely
this."
open, and you see what looks like a figure striding out from behind them.
Oh. Oh dear. I have a bad feeling about this.
Do we wave? Do we shout?
It's up to you.
And I'm talking to Ruby. Do we run down and?
Maybe we should just wait and see
Wave?
what happens. But I think I'd feel safer not being up on this wing.
Yeah, let's get down to more sturdy ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it takes you, I'd say maybe 20-25 minutes to sort of safely make your way down. Safely, I mean, you could get down in about 5 seconds, unsafely. But
We've come too far to break our necks now.
Yeah.
so you take your time getting down because it's still quite treacherous up here. And I'd say, are you stepping back into the crater? What are you doing?
I think we should probably just like hide at the edge and just watch from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I like that idea.
So you kind of get to the edge and kind of peek round the rock, and you see standing in the center of the crater. He seems to be sort of quite casually kind of looking up at the stone. The doors are still open, sort of to his left. But then, who looks round when you would swear you were being pretty stealthy in that, but as soon as you kind of sort of peek round, he sort of casually, almost not threateningly, but sort of, he's made it quite obvious he knows you're there. This figure looks around at you. It appears to be an armoured elf.
Oh. Is it maybe the elf from the inscription?
Is this the leader? It could be. Well, he knows we're here. It is probably less rude to say hello.
Yeah, I should probably just like quietly step out and go, "Hi. Nice mountain you have. It's a really nice climb." In her like most diplomatic way. I've got some beer. Would you like some beer? We're gonna celebrate.
Sort of just sort of looks at the three of you kind of silently for a second. He says, and clears his throat.
It has been a long time since anyone has made the journey up here.
Oh, it was Jackson's idea. He wanted to explore, and we came along to help him out.
No, we didn't mean to intrude upon you.
Well, it is no intrusion so far, but I would merely ask that you do not tarry long on the peak. It is my duty to stand watch.
Stand watch?
Yes. This peak was once the final bastion of the dragons of these mountains.
Oh. You mean this is the dragon nest?
It once was. No longer.
So why must you still keep watch?
I am fulfilling my oath to guard against those who would see the draconic scourge return once again.
Oh.
What, those that actually want to help dragons roam around and burn things?
As you say, this perch must never be reclaimed by those who would cause such wanton destruction to these lands.
It must get really lonely up here.
I have my meditations.
Yeah, but when was the last time you actually had a conversation with someone?
What year is it?
1307.
It has been some time, I'll give you that.
Should you not maybe like write a letter to them, or we could even deliver it. We could even like post it for you, to like get a replacement so you can have like a vacation.
There are no others. I am the last.
Oh, that sucks, man.
Oh. Did they fall here?
In here, in other places, there were never many of us. But these peaks are now clear. Must remain so.
Is your presence here to be kept secret?
The fewer who know of my presence here, the better. It would only invite questions and more visitors.
Well,
See.
we might want to take down some of the statues you've put up, because they're kind of like landmarks.
Yeah, but nobody else knew they were there until we started the climb.
I suppose.
The proclamations must remain.
What do they actually say? I'm sorry, we don't actually read Draconic.
Well, yes, it's not a tongue spoken by many, at least in my day. It has been some time since I ventured down to it, but the lowest reads, "Behold the winged peak, final nest of the Drakeseed dragons. Cleansed 1048.
I thought they were numbers.
It makes sense that they were dates.
Even after I am gone, the stone shall remember."
Jackson, we're going to have to work out carefully what you can say to the Explorers Guild.
Yes, quite. I have quite a similar voice to that guy, don't I? Oh, yes, I have to, must be quite careful. Well, I'm sure I can be trusted to not bring any excess visitors to your mountain. Certainly no tourists or things like that.
That's fine. We'll ramp up the difficulty in the telling.
Yeah, those nasty giants. There are lots of giants that are around that we just managed to squeeze past.
But yes, what a what an ordeal that was. Yes, hundreds of them there were.
Saw someone tragically eaten by one. Terrible. Poor John.
Yes, John. We shall never forget him and the sacrifice he made. Yes. So, let's, we'll, maybe, as Meg said, is there anything you would like us to pass on to anybody? I mean, anybody you know still around, maybe? Who can tell?
Yeah. Do you have a wife or anything, or?
They were taken from me.
Oh.
I'm sorry to hear.
It was many centuries ago, when the dragons still held dominion. Now, lead me to my solitude. It is good to see another living face again.
Well, if you ever get bored, or if those meditations aren't cutting it any longer, come to Shalefast. I'll let you doss there for a bit, and you can have some prime BB.
I just
feel sorry for him.
Yeah, no. He's just like, just come down to the pub, you'll be fine. Yeah.
Poor guy's been stuck up a mountain for like 200 years for no real reason but to guard a door. And I'm like, dude, just abandon it.
Just go home, man.
Just come back.
I would say as well, Shalefast as a town was only just being founded in 1048 was cleansed. Shalefast was founded in 1042. So
yeah.
Okay.
So okay, unless the two of you have more questions, I feel like this guy is sort of saying like, no, just I'm good. But,
all right. Bye.
Well, thank you for clearing the mountains and for continuing to keep watch.
Yeah, thanks for kicking some dragon ass. I have another question though, but why are the doors so big? Would it be any smarter to have like smaller doors, or was this like to stop the actual? Is this the actual dragon's entrance?
Just kind of looks at you for a minute and says, "I don't really have an answer for that." it seemed appropriate with the sacrifice that happened.
Okay.
He sort of turns and he takes a long sort of look to the south and gives you a nod and steps back inside the doors, which start swinging closed behind him.
The poor guy.
Okay, so it's several days later. Now, maybe pushing 10 days since the party stepped out to go on their quest to climb the mountain. It's another busy night in the Fantastic Squeeze box. Ricky and the Slab have been doing their best to keep the bar rolling. It's, they think they're doing okay, but they've been feeling the strain. Ricky's, he's a bit, he's fairly recently married, and he's managed to just about convince his wife to pitch in at the bar, although she's not great as a bartender, but she's learning the ropes. Sandy is in the corner, experimenting with some rhyming couplets, despite the glares of Ricky, who's slightly too busy to put a stop to it, when the door clatters open and a gust of approaching winter wind blows in. 2 or 3 of the candles blow out. Stepping in through the door, looking pretty windswept but triumphant, Meg, Ruby, and Jackson. Seeing it's you, Ricky's face cracks into a wide grin. "Oh, you're back, boss. Oh, thank Moradin. We're swamped here, I could really use a hand."
Give me 10 minutes. Get this pack off me. And a baby for the 3 of us. Sandy, get in your room. I don't want to see you for 2 days. I came in and you're rhyming couplets. We had an arrangement, boy.
Well, oh, yes, Meg. He scurries off downstairs towards his lodgings.
Slab, lock his door.
Yeah, you got it. Slab heads down after him.
Meg's just going to look around the room and going, "Peace with you all." And then walks to the bar.
Ricky has 3 drinks waiting for the 3 of you as you've made it, well, at least to Meg's home. For now.
A toast?
Aye, a toast.
Oh, good, yes. So you guys all sort of knock your mugs together, go to drink them, and despite being now a fully minted adventurer, explorer, Jackson is still not a great drinker, and takes his big swig. In the intervening 10 days, has clearly forgotten just how strong a BV is. His eyes go wide, but he does his best to keep it down.
I just have this image of like Meg and Ruby just like getting him completely and utterly wasted. Yep. And like egging him on, going down it. And then when he's passed out, Meg's just put him in a room downstairs. It's like, "You'll be fine."
Yeah, but maybe that's a story for another
where's
time.
His horse?
Yeah, but I think we'll call it to a close there. Thanks for playing. I hope you've had fun.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a fantastic twist at the end as well.
Yeah. I was so expecting a dragon to come out of those doors, but like, "This is my pet. He's going to eat you now for trespassing."
Well, who's to say one didn't?
Yeah, I'm still suspicious. I'm still like, dude, there's something seriously wrong with you if you want to stay up here all this time.
Okay, that's going to do it for this episode. We should be back with you in 2 weeks' time on Thursday, the 25th of June, with our next episode, so we hope you'll all join us for that. In the meantime, you can get in contact with us on Twitter and Facebook, both of which we're at Pretend With Dice. If you're a Discord user, you can also join our server by following the link in our Twitter bio. And you can also email us at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. Finally, if you're an iTunes or Apple Podcast user, or indeed any app that lets you leave reviews, it'd be really great if you could leave us a rating and review. It all helps us to find new listeners, and we'd love to hear what you all think of the podcast. So for now, that's our show. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.